Okay, so the next content tactic that we want to talk about today is scheduling. So how often do you schedule? When do you schedule? What do you schedule? In what order do you schedule? All those things we're going to go over right now. So everyone on social media says something a little different about this. So I want you to use your best judgment. I want you to test things, and I want you to find that what works for your niche, for your brand, for your message. And just know that I'm going to show you what has worked and what will work for some of you. And then just know that depending on the platform, there may be some changes. So I'm going to go over some what that means. So on Facebook, if you are just starting out, if you're brand new, if you are just trying to use Facebook to nurture and keep clients coming through the door, you may need to only post maybe once a day. I would say the minimum of that would be 3 times a week to keep people engaged, keep you at the forefront of their mind, not spam them, but keep them coming back time and time again. If you have a brand that involves internet marketing a little bit more, you're trying to capture leads, you're trying to get emails, things like that, I would use a little bit more of a posting schedule that involves multiple times a day. And then depending on your engagement, you can post all the way upwards of once an hour. Now that might seem insane to some of you, but if you are in the business of driving a ton of traffic to a website in order to make money, posting once an hour is not that uncommon. So I'm going to show you how to layer it so that you can maximize your schedule. And I'm going to be focusing mostly on Facebook today, but know that these principles of layering are going to be valuable across the board, even in and on other platforms. So let's go into it right now. I'm going to talk about scheduling on Facebook, and then we're going to go into some of the other platforms. All right, so right now I have a sample set up. So I like to use Google a lot because I am all about saving money for my team and I. And Google Docs, you can have quite a bit of space for only maybe $2 a month. And you can probably do a lot of it for free in the beginning, depending on how much you're storing inside Google. So inside of my Google Drive, I save videos, photos. I keep a record of everything that I'm making for all of my clients, and so my Google Drive gets really, really huge, so I spend a whole $2 a month. It's fantastic, and I don't have to buy the software for everyone because it's already online. We use Google Sheets, we use Google Docs, we use all kinds of Google things back here, Google Forms, but I'm just going to show you a sample schedule here on Google Sheets. I just put in Eastern and Pacific US time. This can work for anything. I just have team members all over, and so I wanted to make sure that people could very easily find what time they're in because I didn't want any schedule mess ups. Now, something to keep in mind that's just kind of obscure is it's going to be very uncomfortable scheduling during daylight savings. So twice a year in the US, our time zones like to change. I think we're a little crazy about that, but that's a different video for another day. It messes up our schedule. It doesn't matter what time you put it in. It will mess it up. You probably will double post if you're posting in the middle of the night. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Just check it the next morning, clean it up. It's not that big of a deal. Now, I will occasionally drop stuff in at a half hour here and there. If there's like a trending post or a promo post or something I need to push out, I leave everything on the hour because then I know I can push stuff out on the half hour. You can reverse that. If a lot of big pages are posting on the hour and competing for that space, don't make it hard for yourself. Put everything at the 15, 12:15, 2:15, 10:15. So here's an example of a medium high engagement page. So this is not one that's every hour. This is a page that probably has a few 100,000, if not 1 million or more followers. This is a page that is going to be driving a lot of traffic to a website to get opt-ins, to get sales for their products, things like that. So I will go over share deals later, but for example, in the middle of the night or late at night, I have share deals or just post from other pages to help boost up other pages, to help other pages boost you. It can go both ways. Then I have a picture post, so some sort of meme that we're making or an inspirational quote, which we will go over in that section. Some sort of article or link that's driving traffic to my website. Then I do a national hashtag day. That is also another picture. This is just an example. You can do this in any order. A lot of my pages take advantage of hashtag days. So if it's like National Grandparents Day, something that's relevant to your brand, National Eat a Taco Day, it really just depends. Find a way to make those hashtag holidays part of your system. Make sure you put the hashtag in the caption. It cannot read it in the photo. And get people to, engage with that and share things like that. Another thing I like to do is there's then an article, a video, offer, reframe. So basically what you might see that I'm doing here is that I'm layering. So pretty much every other post is either, this one is, for example, an engagement driven post. And what it does is it will drive traffic to your Facebook page. So it's something that is supposed to get lots of shares, lots of comments, lots of likes and those kinds of things. And then that builds up the engagement. And so the algorithm comes up and comes up and comes up. And then you drop an article and a lot more people are actually going to see this article because of the engaging picture you had go out right before the article. So that's why we layer all of our content this way. So the details of the schedule aren't as important. It is more important that you layer and that you look at your page's peak times and customize your schedule around that. This grouping is just for an example of a pattern. It does not have to be like this. You can group more of them around a peak time. For example, on this page, I would put a picture or a video or a GIF. Those are the three main types of engagement driving posts. At either my 3 a.m. slot or my 4 a.m. slot. And then at 5 a.m., I would put an article or an offer or a link. So I'd probably put another one, maybe around 7. So I can put 2 back to back, but I found it to be more effective if I did, like, for example, a picture, video, or GIF at 3 a.m., maybe an article at 4 a.m., maybe another picture at 5, another article at 6, picture at 7, article at 8, and then I can give it a little bit of a breather, drop in another video here, maybe an article down here, maybe an article that's trending. So it's an article that doesn't necessarily get a lot of clicks, but definitely gets a lot of traction because people really like the picture and the frame and what it's saying. They're going to share it. They love it. They're tagging all their friends in it, but they're not necessarily reading it. You'll learn that as you're clicking on things and seeing what works and what doesn't work. And then around this time again, around 5 p.m., I would put in a picture or a video or a GIF again, and then put an article shortly after. Now, if I'm spacing it out more like every 2 hours or every 4 hours, again, right here, I'd put a picture or a GIF or a video. And then on this time here, I'd put an article, or even right here at 11, we get a nice little uplift here at 11. As you can see, it's a little bit different every day, but it's actually fairly consistent day to day. So some people are like, well, what day of the week should I post on? Well, let's go look. Let's go see what works for your page. Here's another page. So I like to put really engaging content in the middle of the night because I don't want the traffic to drop completely off. If you only post during the day, you have to wake your page up. And this is just algorithmically speaking. You have to wake it up in the morning and tell the AI, like, hey, my people want to see my stuff. Please show my stuff to people. So some of the things that get the AI, so Facebook or any of the other platforms, to show your stuff to people, it depends on how they're engaging with it. Commenting is really important to the platform. It shows them and it rates it higher. It's like, oh, people really like this to the point where they're commenting, but you can't actually ask people to comment. It is against Facebook rules to say, hey, please comment on this post or whatever. You can ask a question and leave it open-ended, and then they will answer in the comments, but you can't say comment below. Those actual words, or saying the words share this with, or anything like that, that's called engagement bait, and you can get in trouble for that. So you can ask a question to your audience, but you cannot ask them to comment. You can't actually say the word comment. Sounds silly, but that's just how the platform works. You can get penalized for that. You won't always, especially if you're smaller, but as you get bigger, the rules are going to apply more heavily to you, especially as you get on Facebook's radar. You do want to make sure you're playing by the rules. That's why I just play by the rules from the beginning. There's no reason why my content can't be so engaging that it does it on its own without me having to ask them to do it. So another thing that is important is video views. So if they're watching the entire video, if they're super engaged, they even watch it more than once, like that is so highly rated because Facebook wants to keep people on the platform. That is why we give them super engaging content for their audience and then offer a link or something that goes off platform so that we are sharing with Facebook and working in concert with them. So it's like, hey, here's some really engaging content. This is stuff that's going to get the clicks. And then here's the stuff that's going to get them to help me keep funding what I'm doing here. Then the last thing is knowing that, let me back up to comments really quick. So comments, if you can evoke a 5 or more word answer, Facebook prioritizes that more. If someone just comments yes or no, that doesn't take as much energy, and Facebook knows that, and so they don't consider that super engaging. Just hitting like on something, there's too many bots out there. They don't really care. Facebook doesn't really rate that very heavily. They'll take it into account a little bit. Maybe let's say it gives them 1 point, and after a certain number of points, your content is then shown to a bigger and bigger audience. So like, let's say every like is 1 point. I don't know the actual point system for Facebook, but I do know relatively what it does percentage-wise and the impact. So share is really highly valued. A comment of 5 or more words is really heavily valued. Watching the video all the way through, watching the video more than once, that's fantastic engagement for Facebook or any of these other platforms that involve video. And then something that actually on Google is the most highly rated is actually when someone takes an article or something and then texts it to their friends. So if someone hits that share button and goes to more or other and then clicks on text and then texts it to a friend, oh my gosh, like Google and Facebook just go nuts. They're like, that is the most engaging piece of content ever, and they will share it with more and more people. So they want to give people what they're going to engage with and what's going to get them. And so as you can see, that kind of stuff, when the engagement is high, which is right here, it will turn out that they'll show it to a lot more people because they're like, oh, people are really engaged with this. And let's just look at a post really quick for an example. So it got 4,000 post clicks, which actually turns out to be about 1,900 link clicks. This is how many people are actually going to the website. You can see that there's over 3,000 shares here, 167 comments. People have full opinions to share on it, and they're giving us whole paragraphs. And if you come in and read them and like them and reply to them and comment and stuff, if you are going to engage with your posts, engage with your audience, which again, Facebook will reward you for engaging with your audience. So answering your inbox in a timely manner and commenting on your posts is all part of social listening and social engagement, and it will help prioritize you in the algorithm. I recommend on a highly engaged post, you need to reply to at least 3 comments so that Facebook knows that you're paying attention. If there aren't 3 comments, it's not as big of a deal. You could just like a couple of them and scroll on to the next ones. But engaging back is really important. Again, here's another page example where you would put your peak content, your articles and your offers and your links here. And then right before, as it's coming up, you would put your pictures and your videos. Again, pictures and videos here. Maybe one spread out into here to just keep it from going too low, taking advantage of these peak points again. Here is another page, same sort of story. Some of them have here's one that's like really low dips in the middle of the night, which, this is a hiking page, so I guess hikers are asleep because they want to get good rest so they can get up early and get on the trail, and then they're engaging with the content. So this is a little bit smaller of a page example. So if you go back to our sample schedule, this is a medium high engaged, where it's like every other hour. Here's one where it's spread out a little bit more, just kind of showing again the pattern, but taking advantage of a peak time. You're like, hey, I'm going to put a video and then an article right after it, so I can just really catapult it out into the internet verse. And then this is an example of a newer page that you're still trying to drive leads online. So you are posting, this one's 4 times a day, some sort of optional midnight slot, depending on what time zone you're in. Then we have a picture, we have an article or offer kind of more midday or earlier in the morning. Again, depends on the page. And then we have a video or GIF at night to just keep people engaged, keep educating them, keep them coming back. So like I said in the very beginning, I want to make sure that you guys know that if you are just starting out and you're just trying to keep people maybe booking appointments or whatever, you really don't need to post more than once a day. And then the last thing I want to share with you really quick is how many times a day to post on each platform.